Hey, welcome to the channel Do You Know? Natural disasters of the century. Natural disasters are being recorded more frequently than ever before. Since 1970, the number of disasters worldwide has more than quadrupled to around 400 a year, and there are 6 times more hydrological events now than in 1980, according to The Economist. Since 2000, losses, both insured and uninsured, have spiked, according to the Insurance Information Institute. Here are the top 10 global natural disasters ranked by financial cost since 2000. Number 10. New Zealand. Earthquake, 2011. $25.5 billion. An earthquake magnitude of 6.3 shook the city of Christchurch and the town of Littleton in New Zealand in 2011. It set off a series of collapsing buildings, falling bricks, crumbling walls and tumbling boulders, resulting in 185 deaths. Irreparable damage led to the demolition of several thousand homes, and large tracts of suburban land were subsequently abandoned, according to New Zealand's government. Number 9. The United States. Drought, 2012. $30 billion. In 2012, nearly two-thirds, 65.45% of the continental US was covered by drought, according to Brad R. Rippey of the USDA. Losses were largely agricultural. Crops were lost in part due to a lack of soil moisture, and livestock were lost as, quote, 76% of the domestic cattle inventory was located in drought at the height of 2012 dry spell, end of quote, writes Mr. Rippey. He also notes that, quote, US corn yield fell in 3 consecutive years for the first time since 1928-1930, and for only the 3rd time on record, end of quote. Number 8. Thailand. Floods, 2011. $42 billion. Multinational companies, including Sony, Honda and Toyota, end of quote, the society also noted. 65 of the 77 provinces were affected by the flood, and 8 were declared flood disaster zones. Do you know? A flood in the Netherlands on November 1st, 1530 killed 400,000 people. This is the worst flood in Europe. Number 7. Caribbean Islands and the United States. Hurricane Irma, 2017. $50 billion. Hurricane Irma made 7 landfalls, 4 of which occurred as a Category 5 hurricane across the northern Caribbean islands, according to the NOAA. Hurricane Irma made landfall in the Florida Keys as a Category 4 hurricane and in the southwestern region of the state as a Category 3. The hurricane affected at least 9 US states, turning streets into rivers, ripping down power lines, uprooting trees and cutting off coastal communities, according to a CNN article which also notes that it was the strongest Atlantic basin hurricane ever recorded outside the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea. Number 6. The United States. Hurricane Sandy, 2012. $70.2 billion. In 2012, in anticipation of Hurricane Sandy, numerous states along the east coast of the US declared states of emergency, closed offices and shut down transportation systems. Just before making landfall in New Jersey, Hurricane Sandy weakened to a post-tropical cyclone. However, the superstorm caused the greatest number of US direct fatalities related to a tropical cyclone outside of the southern states since Hurricane Agnes in 1972, according to the NOAA. Number 5. Dominica and Puerto Rico. Hurricane Maria, 2017, $90 billion. In 2017, Hurricane Maria hit Dominica as a Category 5 storm. The storm transformed to a Category 4 hurricane before it hit Puerto Rico. The entire island of Puerto Rico lost electricity, making it the largest blackout in US history and the second largest blackout in the world, according to Vox. It also took nearly a year to restore power to all residents. Whether the US government would provide disaster relief and how much became a major political controversy after the hurricane, delaying the island's recovery. Number 4. China. Earthquake, 2008, $110 billion. In 2008, Sichuan, a province in the southwestern China, registered a 7.9 magnitude earthquake. Landslides, power failures, and fallen mobile phone towers left much of the affected area cut off from the outside world and limited information about the damage, according to the New York Times. The earthquake killed nearly 90,000 people, including at least 5,000 students, some of whom were trapped in their schools, and damaged more than 12,000 schools in Sichuan. Do you know? An earthquake in Xinji, China, on February 2, 1556, killed more than 820,000 people and left hundreds of thousands homeless. Number 3. The United States. Hurricane Harvey, 2017, $125 billion. In 2017, Hurricane Harvey, a Category 4 storm, hit the Louisiana-Texas border. The storm broke the US record for rainfall from a single storm, and numerous known human carcinogens were among the dozens of tons of industrial toxic substances released into the surrounding neighborhoods and waterways following Harvey's torrential rains, according to the Associated Press. Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria all occurred in the same year and contributed to 2017 being the most expensive year on record for disasters, according to the Texas Tribune. Number 2. The United States. Hurricane Katrina, 2005, $161 billion. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina, a Category 3 storm, hit New Orleans, Louisiana. Levee and floodwall failures led to more than 1,800 fatalities, not only from damages in Louisiana, but also in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi. The event also set off a series of 59 tornadoes across the span of just 6 days that tore across 9 states from the Gulf Coast to the Ohio Valley. Number 1. Japan. Earthquake and Tsunami, 2011, $195 to $305 billion. In 2011, Tohoku, Japan experienced a magnitude 9 earthquake, followed by a tsunami and hundreds of aftershocks. The disaster resulted in extensive damages, including to infrastructure, agricultural land, and housing. Quote, "The number of houses considered to have been totally destroyed or half destroyed were 128,530 and 240,332 respectively," end of quote, according to an analysis of the damages. The earthquake also led to the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, exposing power plant workers, disaster responders, and the general public to radiation. Quote, "The appearance of the increased levels of radiation were identified in some local food and water supplies," end of quote, after the nuclear disaster, according to Britannica. This is all very scary, right? Let's take care of our planet. Want to know more? Suggest your topics, write comments and your thoughts, and don't forget to like this video. Each of your likes, comments and channel subscriptions motivate us to make more interesting content and delight you. See you soon, friends!